Yeah, before this episode starts, man, I just want to say thank you. Thank you to Chastity, man. Um, Her story is something that apparently I was super late with finding out about. And once I found out about the story, it just blew my mind. And I also didn't know until I actually sat down with her that this is actually a story she's not comfortable with talking about. Yet she still decided to do the interview with me. And to that, Chastity, if you're listening, Chastity, if you're watching, I want to say thank you. That means a lot to me. Because even in the interview, you all, I don't want to say too much. It's a dope interview. She was extremely detailed. As you can see, the video is, more than 30 minutes long. She got very detailed. She was on the Dr. Oz show, and she had all these major platforms reach out to her, and she still decided to come on over to me and have a sit down with me and talk to us, being that we know each other personally. But those other platforms that she went on, or the other platforms she went on, that being Dr. Oz, she didn't even get this much into detail. She wasn't able to. So I appreciate her for coming onto the show, to talk about something that she's not comfortable with talking about, to talk about a story that apparently ruined her life for a little bit of time there. And again, she'll get into why she felt like it kind of destroyed her life. But I want to say thank you, Chastity. It means a lot to me. You were very open. I hope I didn't push you too much. I don't think I did. We had a good time. We did a lot of laughing in this interview. But it means a lot that you were open enough to come and sit down and get so open and honest and just, transparent about this story, how it came about and your true feelings about it. So thank you for that. It means a lot. I hope you liked the way I put this interview together, and I hope the rest of you that are listening and watching like the way, I put the interview together. So, all right. With that being said, thank you again, Chaz. Here's the interview.
Oh yeah, Diddy got a podcast.
All right, cool. So earlier this year, I went to do a speaking engagement in Batesville. And when I went to Batesville, when I told him I was going to Batesville, he was like, "Oh man, that's dope, man. You're a public speaker." And I was like, "Yeah, man, you should follow my page." And I was like, my motivational page. So we go to Instagram, and you know how on Instagram it'll tell you like in the bio if you follow mutual people.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh snap, Chastity." And immediately when he said Chastity, immediately when I said Chastity, or when he said Chastity, I was like, "There's only one Chastity I know." So when he said it, I was like,
I like that.
Patterson? And he was like, "Yeah, that's the homie." That's the first word he said, and that's how I always refer to you, as the homie. He was like, "Oh yeah, that's the homie. Like, she cool people." I was like, "Heck yeah, man." And I started to tell him how I got the page started and about my story. And he was like, "Oh man, you gotta he was like, "Oh man, you gotta talk to Chastity." And I was like, "What do you mean talk to her?" And he was like, "Bro, she had a situation that happened last year too." And I was like, now, just that fast, maybe there is more than one Chastity I know or something, because I know this Chastity or whatever. And I was like, "Well, okay, what happened?" And he's like, "Well, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's weird, bro. Like, she had some situation with some dead person that like started texting her phone or something, and like she shared the story, and like people freaked the heck out." And I was like, "A dead person texts her phone and she told people about it?" He's like, "I don't know, man. It had something to do with her dad or something. I don't know, bro, but you're going to have to talk to her about it." And I said, "That's crazy, because I'm leaving for Batesville today. I'm going to be down there for just tomorrow. And I'm coming back, and me and her podcast is literally tomorrow. Like, I'm going to get back, and our podcast is going to be within that 2-hour period once I'm back. So I'm excited to do this. I'm excited to mention, to ask her about it. But I don't think this is the same Chastity." He said it's the same Chastity, bro. What the heck is he talking about?
Okay. So, I had a father figure. I called him my daddy.
But even though your real dad's in your life, or was your real dad not in your life?
So, my real dad is in my life. But, he's in my life, but he's not a part of my life. Growing up, my dad was a drug addict and an alcoholic. Well, he still is. At the time, I didn't value my dad like I do now. I was very disappointed in how he was and things like that. And because he was a certain way, my mom didn't always let him come around. So at a very young age, my mom still had to go to work sometimes. So we would get dropped off at the skating rink on Friday or Saturday. And we would go skating. Well, the guy who owned the skating rink used to always tell my siblings, like, oh, she's too young. She can't come up here. Like, an adult has to be here, this and this and that. So I would have to sit on the bench all night. Or as I started getting older, I would always get in trouble and get sent back to the bench all the time. Well, over time, he started to realize, like, okay, she's going to keep getting in trouble. So I just need to put her to work. So I would go to the back of the snack bar and stuff, and I would, get chips for him for people to buy and sodas. And then at a very young age, in like 4th, 5th grade, I was doing that. So about 6th grade, he just kind of took me under his wing. And at that phase, I looked at him as my dad. Like, he's been to every school event, band camp he took me to, summer programs he took me to. Like, he was my dad in my eyes. And so that's all I knew. I mean, I knew my daddy. I know my dad. My dad's always around. He comes to family events. Like, I know my dad. But what I'm saying is, like, as a father, that's all I knew. I mean, I had brothers who tried.
Fair enough.
Stopped it. But as a father, that's really all I knew. And, like, I embraced that. So, 6th grade, all the way up until my freshman year, he was involved in everything. Getting moved on in campus, going home every weekend. Like, that was my dad. Well, he passed away my freshman year. And he had a bad wreck and he hit a tree. Well, I used to always text him or call him twice a day. Like, one, to call him to wake him up from work.
Hold on. Wait. You're doing this thing where you've told this story before. Probably one too many times that you care to share it. And you're skipping important things.
I didn't skip anything.
There's
what
you
I
are, because
skip?
there are listen. There are listeners. There's very many listeners that will hear this and are gonna be like blown away with this story. This is very important, and this is a very integral part of your life. Seriously, and I don't have to say seriously because I know that you understand this. You were in college, and this guy who was like your father figure.
Yeah.
Something happened to him at some point. But it's not, listen, it didn't just happen. You were at school when it happened, right?
I was at home.
Break that down for them.
Back up for you, Didi. Let me invite you into my life, okay?
Please, invite the listeners into your life.
Okay, listeners, people, you ready? So I was at home one night. I was in my first apartment, moved off campus. It was crazy because I was just on the phone with him. He was at his friend's house for his birthday party. And he had asked me, was I coming home Friday to help at the skating rink because he might get stuck at work? And I was like, yeah, me and Robert to be there. Robert was my best friend. Like, he literally brought me and Robert up. Like, I'm not kidding. So we lived together. So I had just got off the phone with him, and he said he was finna go home. Finna go home, go to bed. Like, I gotta go to work in the morning. Well, I got off the phone with him. He told me he was grabbing his plate, his food, so he can go home from his best friend's house. And I didn't get a phone call back. So, like, okay, still watching TV and no phone call. And it was crazy because I was watching the Cleveland show and sitting there waiting, didn't get a call. I'm like, man, it's like 9:50 something. Like, he lived down the road. It don't take long. So I called again, didn't get a response. He dated this woman at the time who had a son that was my classmate. And he texted me on Facebook. And it's crazy because I still have the messages. And he texted me and he said, Jason's dead. First off, I get very mad if you do something like that because it's like, who the hell plays games like that? You know what I mean? I had a friend who graduated 2 years before me that worked at the fire station across the street from where his car wrecked. And I get a phone call and he goes, Chastity, you need to come home. And I said, why? He goes, I think I just saw your dad's car. And I was like, what are you talking about? He was like, your dad's car was like flying down the road like very fast. Well, he hit a tree head on, to the point that the engine in the car came out the front of the car into his car. And so I didn't know what he was saying. He was like, I think I just saw your dad's car. I think you just really need to get home. And then, so I got on the phone and I text Trayvon back and I go, what are you talking about? And so now I'm mad. I'm panicking. I start calling my mom. And I'm like, Mom, I need you to get in your car and I need you to go and see if Jason's okay. Like, they said he was in a wreck. She goes, what are you talking about? Well, I'm not going to believe nobody until I hear it from my mom. Well, it's crazy because my sister and her boyfriend lived right around the corner from the tree he hit. And he hit the tree like less than 2 minutes from his house. Like not even 2 minutes, maybe a minute from his girlfriend's house. Don't know what happened. Don't know what was going on in his head. Don't know if something, whatever it was. I don't know. So my mom gets in her car. She goes and check. And she can't get up to the area. And it's confirmed it was Jason. And I was like, and then I was really mad because it was like, my mindset didn't go. And it's crazy because I was in psychology and it was like, you should know things. But it was like, my mindset didn't go to, he's dead. My mindset went to straight denial. Like, you were supposed to call me back. Like, you were supposed to let me know you made it home. You didn't make it home. Now I'm mad. So for all those years, I carried anger. Like, still to this day, I have not cried that I lost him. And that whole situation was terrible because not only did I lose him, because like even when a situation happened, people were like, oh, she's psychotic, she's crazy. Like I got a lot of backlash from it. Like, oh, that's fake, that's BS. She didn't text that phone for years. But what people don't know that I never told them is that when that situation happened, I was closed out from him. Like, not kidding. His family denied me access to the funeral home. His family denied access to the skating rink that I spent all those years at. Like, when I tell you his family was not a part of his life, they were not a part of his life. Like, I was the only kid that he had in his life. I knew everything about him, what was going on, everything. The moment he died, family comes rushing. Oh, his house, his clothes, his this, his that. And I'm literally telling him, like, you're not touching nothing because I know for a fact he had a will. He told me and all his best friends, and it's crazy because all his best friends even said the same thing I said. Jason has a will. And it's in the skating rink. Like, it's in the skating rink in the top office. But nobody seemed to have find it. Like, nobody couldn't find it. Nobody got access to the skating rink. Nothing. So, his family took his house, put it up for sale, took the skating rink, put it up for sale. His awake, like, because I went there the day that they were working on his funeral. Like, Jason was a person that you never catch him in a suit. You were never going to catch him in no slacks and a button-up shirt. No, you caught him in jeans, some fire-ass, Nikes, Air Force, whatever it is, the top-of-the-line shoes, and a nice jersey, his chains, and his 3 rings. And that's it. That's all Jason needed. Every now and then he had on a hat and a do-rag. You never caught him in a suit. So I'm sitting here looking at these people that are trying to put him in a suit and in this casket that, like, this is nothing he wants. Like, I know for a fact. Like, I know this man like the back of my hand. And because I literally made the comment to say, like, he has a will. Like, nobody should be doing anything until that will gets found. You know what I mean? And I wasn't trying to be rude, and maybe it came off to his family that way, or I was overstepping or disrespectful, but I wasn't trying to be disrespectful. And because I made that comment, his uncle told me to get out the room and leave. Like, you're not his family. You can get out of here. You don't have nothing to say on this. This is my nephew. That moment made me very angry on top of already being angry.
So, this tragic situation happens with Jason.
Yes.
He passes away. You never accept this. You're in denial.
Facts.
It has not clicked in your head that this man has passed away.
Right.
So instead of accepting and making this a reality that the man that you consider like a father figure is no longer here, you continue to do what you have been doing for many years before, which is texting his phone every day.
Well, I didn't start texting the phone every day again until after, so a few days passed, and my mind goes to, I need to find his will. I need to bury him how he needs to be buried. Like, I need to do what needs to be done. Like, that's my dad. You know what I mean? Like, people that live all the freaking way in Chicago is not going to come down here and take away everything that everybody has. Like, the funeral was so freaking jacked up, it was closed to the public. It was private to people that never freaking called him. They didn't even know his favorite color. You're calling his girlfriend and his friend to help put his funeral together. That's how sad it is. And you live down the road from him and you don't even know him. So I was cool with it. I didn't say nothing. It was a matter of respect. My mom raised me right. So when I left the funeral home, I tried to call his uncle and apologize. for overstepping. It's how I was raised. I kid you not, swear to God on my life, this man, his wife answered the phone. She gave him the phone and he said, "Sweetheart, I don't know you and I don't really care to know you." He said, "But that comment that you made to me saying that you are more family than I'll ever be, that comment right there, you're going to remember those words and you're going to eat them." And he hung up the phone on me. I literally said, "Hey, I just wanted to apologize for earlier. I understand maybe I was out of line. It's just a lot of mixed emotions in a room. You know, I'm young. I don't understand or grasp the concept of losing somebody because I still have both my mom and dad. You know what I mean? So for you to do that to somebody so young and you knew me, like the crazy thing about it is this man knew me. Every time we had to go to Sam's Club, we used your Suburban and me and Jason pulled up in your yard to get your freaking car. And I was always with him. You knew exactly who I was. But his mindset went like every other family member. What can I get out of this? He went out there and ramshacked his house. He went through his, man, like everything you could think of. It's gone. Like it is literally gone. So then a few days later, I find out they're having an awake. I get no invite, no nothing. So I showed up. Like I went there with my best friend, who he also helped basically bring up as a father figure. And we go. I walk in and, you sign the book. And then right before you walk into the room to see the body, like I can see his casket and this tuxedo that they have on him, but I can't see him because somebody's standing there. And before I knew it, the uncle comes through the other side of the door and he goes, "You're Chastity, huh?" And I go, "Yes, sir." He goes, "Hey, can I speak to you in the hallway?" "No problem." "Yes, sir. No problem." I'm thinking, we're going to have a, conversation, say, "Hey, yeah, we were both heated, in our feelings, this and this and that." No, this man looked at me in my face in this hallway and told me, "Remember when I told you on the phone that those words that you said you were going to eat?" He said, "Well, that's going to happen today." He said, "Because you're not family and you're not welcome here, so you can leave." Everything in me, like I was confused. Like it was just this amount of like anger boiling and boiling. Like it's a pot ready to bust. And I was so angry. I didn't say anything. I didn't argue, but my mom and my brothers and sisters were there for support for me too. Cause they knew the whole community knew. And everybody from the community was outside. Like, did he really just say that? Like he didn't he didn't embarrass me by myself. He embarrassed me in front of this entire waiting room of people. And like all of these people are standing there with their mouth open like, are you serious? Did he really just say that? Like, do you not know what Jason was to her? Like everybody in the community knew this. So I go outside and my friend was like, "Hey, let me go talk to him, this and this and that. It's just a misunderstanding." I'm looking at this man like, it's not a misunderstanding. He knew what he did and he did it on purpose and it's okay. I'm gonna go home. Before I knew it, he said something crazy. And my sister, she's a ticking time bomb. She doesn't play. And his family comes out of this funeral home like, "Oh, this is our family and this is the bullshit that y'all said and da-da-da-da-da. And you think you running something." And I'm looking at these people like, I don't even know what you're talking about. This man went back and told these people that I was keeping them from his assets, saying that they weren't his family. They was never going to get nothing. The skating rink was mine. I'm looking at him like, what are you talking about? I'm a kid. I can't take any of his stuff. Like, I don't even know what you're talking about. So it went from that to like his family coming out talking about some, "We from fucking Chicago. Like, we'll whoop your ass." Like, what? Did this just jump 0 to 100 at an awake? Well, now you done said that and now my brother and sister hype. And then you got everybody from the community outside looking like this is why he probably didn't fool with his people. So I was literally denied access at the wake. And then I got a phone call that said that the funeral was going to be public. But my dad's friend went into the funeral and literally heard them word for word say that when she shows up, you need to have her escorted out. And he called me on my phone and literally told me the day before I drove down there. I mean, the few hours before I drove down there and said, "Hey, you don't need to come down here because they're going to have the cops escort you out." At a freaking funeral. I'm not kidding. So I was like, cool. So I contacted people from my church because they were going to go too for moral support, you know. And I contacted my mom and them, and I was just like, I'm not going. Like, don't worry about it. Like, we're not going to go. I'm not going to stress it. I'm not going to deal with it. I'm just not going to go. So for me, my everyday routine is to text him to make sure he's up for work and to text him to make sure he made it home from work. That was the last communication I had with him, was let me know when you got home. So my communication is contacting him. I know physically he's gone, but mentally for me, I'm not ready for that. So I used to call the phone to listen to the voicemail. And then after a while, I guess a lot of people was doing it too because the voicemail thing filled up. So then I had access to his phone account. So I tried to get that to where I can save. Like, I would have never had this issue if I could have saved his voicemail. If I could have had that voicemail on recording, I would have never text, phone call, nothing. But somehow his accounts and stuff were closed. And when his stuff got closed, I had no more access to it. So at that time, I guess, you know, the number was just in the air. Nobody had the phone number, no nothing. So I didn't text every single day. But I used to text and be like, hey, finals is coming up. I'm stressing out. You know, normally I would call you and talk about stuff, but you're not here. So I'm just checking in, you know, small stuff. And like one day I text and,
one day as in how much longer? How at what point? Like, was this a year later, 6 months later?
No, I used to text frequently. Not every single day. I would text like throughout the weeks.
The moment you're about to explain about what happened, when things changed for you, what point, how long had it been?
2 months, 3 months.
Okay.
I had bought a dog.
Okay.
But I bought a dog because I needed a companion, like something to distract me. Like school wasn't enough.
Yep.
You know, like that was my everyday routine. School wasn't enough. So I bought a dog. And it's crazy because I text and I said, hey, I think I'm adulting enough. I finally bought a dog. And then I sent a picture of the dog. I know he's dead. Nobody's going to text me back. So I didn't care. Nobody knows I text. Nobody knows nothing. And then, you know, over time, I think I text more too because the phone that I had everything on, it had got broken. And since the screen and stuff broke and it was on an Android and I had moved to an iPhone, I couldn't get nothing off of it. So all of our pictures, conversations, videos, it was all gone. Like that's all I had left. So, I would do that frequently. And then nothing ever happened. You know, it never read, nothing never turned blue. It was always a green message, you know? And then I stopped for a while. I stopped. My life got busy. I stopped, didn't have to do anything. And then one day I had texted him and told him that I had gotten in a relationship. Because he used to always tell me, like, I'm never going to get married. He used to always say that, like, you're too much. You don't need nothing. You're too independent. Like, you'll never find somebody who can handle you. You're gonna always be single. He was like, and him and my mom joked because they'd always used to tell me, like, I was gonna grow up with no kids and be very successful and drink wine every night because I would not be happy. Like, that's some bullshit. But, laugh at you now. Ha ha ha. But, life changed. I got busy. And then over time, I texted him and told him I was in a relationship. And then here recently, which was last year,
which was how much longer after he had passed away?
4 years.
So 4 years later, you had been texting him on and off for that period of time.
Yeah.
For 4 years. Okay.
Yeah. So last year I text, but I didn't text to say anything specific, you know, like I text for me mentally because like I fixed myself spiritually. I got my life back together, you know. I wasn't just this destroyed person that I've always been my entire life. So I was just basically texting him to say, like, I don't need to text you no more. Like, I am on a whole new level of high. Like, I don't have to do it no more because now I have somebody in my life and people around me that I get the moral support from. And I've learned that there's people in the world that you can actually talk to that don't use the things against you. They'll actually listen to you. I've never even believed in that. Even though I was going to be a therapist, I never believed that there was people that wouldn't judge you for the things that you say and do. So I never talked to people. That's just how I've always been. Well, I was just texting to say, hey, you know, like, I love you. I don't need you no more. Just reminiscing back on my life, this past few years. And, and then it was crazy because when I did that, I was going to hit delete on all my messages. Like, I'm done. I don't have to do it no more. And then right when I got ready to hit delete, fucking bubbles popped up. And at this moment, I'm like, hold up. Like, am I senile? Am I going crazy? Did I just see that? Like, but at the same time, like, I was in emotions and I was crying. So I was like, maybe my eyes was just too freaking watery. So I picked my phone back up because I threw my phone down. When I picked my phone back up, there were still bubbles. There were freaking bubbles and I got excited. Like, I was so freaking excited. I was like, maybe there's this such thing as afterlife. Man, I sound so damn crazy right now. And I really thought it was. So, the bubbles just kept going and going and going. And then for a minute there, I was like, maybe this is, my phone's just jacked up.
This glitch or something.
Yeah, like it ain't working. And then it's crazy because I got a message back. And this guy responded and was literally like, he's been getting my messages for a very long time. And he never responded. Now, in my head, I'm like, man, somebody's playing a damn joke on me. You just read the text message and just went off that. But then when he said something about a dog, I knew for a fact that you had to get my messages because I bought the dog freshman year. But it was making me mad. And then once that happened, a part of me was like, this can't be accurate. And I didn't text back. I didn't say anything. I was really mad. I was actually like, like most people get excited. I was really, really mad. I was really mad he texted back. Because I was ready for my life to just take off. You know what I mean? Like, you're ready. You're done. You're on a fresh start. Like, your mind is good to go. Like, you've dealt with your loss and your pain. You can go. But then he responded and it just went downhill. I got so mad all over again. Like, the hard work I put into myself, it went away. And I never said nothing. And then I was like, maybe that's what I needed. So my mindset didn't go to, if you post this, what happens after? Because when I posted it, my Facebook is private. So the only people on my Facebook are people that I personally know. So when I posted it, I knew that people would already know from Newport because every year I happen to share a story or they share things on my page of pictures of us and things like that. And I basically telling people like, you don't have to do that no more. Like, you don't have to send me, I know it's been so many years since Jason's been gone. I've been thinking about you. Like, I don't need these BS. Basically, I'm not trying to be rude, but I didn't need the BS texts. I didn't need the BS comments. I didn't need this fake sympathy. Like, because at the end of the day, you didn't care enough because you got to see him lay there. I didn't. You got your closure. I didn't. I had nothing left. Like, nothing. So I just basically was letting people know, like, I don't need the support this year. I'm fine. I don't need people to check on me. I just don't need it. I'm doing great. Like, it's time for me to let it go. Will I remember it every single year on the date? Yes. Well, does my alarms on my phone still go off at 9 and 11 a.m.? Yes, they do. Like clockwork. I would be in class and my alarms go off and I did not care. And I would turn it right off. And the teacher would be like, oh, your phone's supposed to be on silent. I didn't care enough. Like, my phone has to go off. Like, I had to hear that alarm. So I posted the message or whatever. And the moment I posted the message, there was a girl that I knew named Sierra. And she asked me, could I make it public so that she could share it? Not thinking of the freaking side effects of what that could do. And she made it, she shared it on her page. And then, like, my alarm didn't go off for work the next day and I was late. And so I'm trying to run and get to Sprint and things like that. And I'm trying to get my phone working to text my friend and be like, hey, like, I'm running late. Like, I'm so sorry my alarm didn't go off. My phone's not freaking coming on. Like, it's just blinking. Like, it's glitching. Like, it's not freaking working. And by the time I got to work, I turned my phone off because, I work at a phone store. So I turned my phone off for about 20 minutes, turned it back on. And then my text messages started coming in. And people are texting me like, No, the first one I read was from my sister. And she said, oh my God, did you see your post? It's done went viral. I was like, what is she talking about? What post? Like, my mindset didn't go to that. So when I looked at it, a post that night to this morning has been shared 3,000 times. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, but again, sounds great. Oh my God, it went viral. Awesome. I didn't really care for it to go viral. I'm a very private person. That moment that message went viral, my life for that moment went downhill. Everybody gets excited. Like, your story was great for you. And this is why I don't talk about it, because your story for you, you talk about it, it's motivational. 100%. At the moment for me, my life was destroyed. It was destroyed to the point that, like, yes, there are trolls in the world. But let me tell you something. Like, I was getting messages talking about some, dang, your story's a lie. What's the next thing for you? Porn star? Like, in my private DMs, like, it went 0 to 100. Like, it was crazy. And then people that I don't even speak to are being contacted by news people and journalists and people who write online articles, and they're talking about, like, I had a message from a woman one time saying that, like, hey, we spoke to someone you graduated with, and they were talking about in high school you were such this terrible person, and da-da-da-da-da, and that the story is fake, and you never had a guy in your life named Jason, and this and that. And I was like, and then in my head I was going to respond and be very rude. But I was like, no, because if you put fuel on the fire, it's just going to light. My friends and them, I was at work, and my friends were getting messages, commenting and things like that. And they were like, oh, you don't fucking know her, you're a liar. Like, it just went downhill, like, very, very fast. Like, people that even assumed that when I sent out that text message was about them, and it was never about them. Like, I don't get me wrong, like, I talked to a few people in college. It was never more than that. But I even had people that lives out of state now text me talking about some, dang, you just go throw me under the bus like that, and this and this and that. First of all, your girl has only been in one major relationship her entire life before the one I'm in. So if I am talking about somebody that has destroyed me and broke my heart, it's not somebody that I sent a few text messages to. And I'm not trying to be rude. I was just being honest, because at that point I was really mad. Well, then I'm getting contacted by all these, TV people and this and that, and people from high school talking about, hey, this news person contacted me. Like, it even got to a point one time that I went to freaking Starbucks, and a woman was sitting outside of her car following me just to talk to me about it. Literally even pulled out a device in her purse and asked me, can we see the phone number and we can tell you if it's a real number or not? Once that message went public, they started calling his actual phone, like Jason's phone number, not realizing that's not the number I was texting. The number I was texting was the burner phone that we had to use temporarily because the skating rink phone broke. So I was calling his phone, the voicemail on that stopped. Calling the skating rink phone, the voicemail on that one stopped. So I was calling the temporarily one, the one that we were just paying minutes on and stuff like that. So it was still up and going. So I just wanted to hear the voicemail. That's all I needed. So still to this day, I get randomly contacted asking, like, hey, can we see your messages, or can we see, like, conversation between you guys, and, write the story in more detail. Like, I even had a person ask me, could they write my story in a play? No, like, this is my personal life. Like, I'm not that person. Or, like, somebody even contacted me and asked me, could I sell my story? You want to hear about
what does that even mean?
Could they pay me to tell them about everything, and can they get my phone, and can they contact Brad to see if we could get together? Like, I even had people contact me and tell me, hey, if you get married, could Brad walk you down the aisle? No offense, and I'm not trying to sound really rude, but one, I don't even know the guy. Two, we don't have conversation like that. I text, he texts, I checked on him after, found out a few things, didn't want to share a few things, but it's crazy because this one woman, contacted me, and she wanted to know why I was so against people contacting him. One, you literally, like, ruined my life for like my life has been ruined for like 2 days. Like, for some people that's great. For me, my life was ruined. It was like, this is all my life consists of right now. Like, I can't even get on my social media and have a regular conversation with anybody because people that I don't even freaking know millions of miles away are messaging me talking about your life is fake and, you know, you should be crucified and you're going to go to hell. Like, it was some crazy, crazy stuff. And that's when I realized, like, the world of trolls is, like, out of this world.
It's out of this world. The internet is undefeated.